Okay, I am here with Saundra Lamb of Semforex Corporation, and I'm so grateful that you could join us for this interview. I'm very excited about learning more about your company myself, but also introducing you to those who are participating in the Economic Inclusion Conference at Coppin. Uh, Ms. Saundra Lamb, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Semforex and how you got into the ballistic performance apparel manufacturing business?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Williams. I want to say, first of all, thank you for putting this conference on. It's so important that we have an opportunity to have these conversations and this dialogue, and I'm just very grateful to be a part of it. I'm President and Chief Operating Officer for Semforex. We're a small minority veteran-owned startup business. We design and manufacture, as you said, body armor and innovative ballistic apparel for the law enforcement, first responders, and for their safety and well-being. Now, how we got started, we've been in since uh, 2012, a couple of years prior to that, just working with the idea and the concept. And actually, the sort of the industry chose us. We became aware of the problem that officers were having with their the wearing their body armor. Now, I personally always thought that it was something that would protect them. They had it on, everything's fine. But I was appalled to learn through an officer that we met on the hottest day of the year how much they were actually suffering with this equipment. And my husband was particularly interested because he had worn a flak jacket in Germany, and so he knew how heavy and how uncomfortable it is. I don't think that as citizens we really know what that discomfort is. So we were compelled. You get presented with a problem, you can't just walk away from it when it's that enormous. Although I will say that we had no idea the extent of this industry. You solve one problem and you realize that you're going to have to provide that for officers in general. So that's how we got started in it. It's very uncomfortable, and our what we were trying to resolve and to solve was the problem of discomfort, because we believe that makes officers safer because they weren't wearing their body armor because it was just too uncomfortable. They were running to a situation or a circumstance and trying to get it on at while they were running toward it, and that's not a safe proposition. So this makes it comfortable for them to wear uh, day 8 hours, 16 hours a day.
Wow. So you got into the industry by recognizing a problem that needed to be solved,
Yeah.
and it resonated with you. And now that wow, you're approaching a decade. Next year will be your 10th anniversary in
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Uh, and in addition to what will be, I'm sure, a celebration, what have you learned? How has the industry changed over the past decade? What did you find out that you really did not expect?
Well, we didn't expect that there would be we actually had to address and change the culture of what I would call the macho piece, the whole deal. Um, that making someone comfortable was an anathema to making them safe. Okay, oh, you got to be comfortable. You're not going to be safe. But the reality is that it's just like anything else. If you're too hot, if you're too cold, you're not going to wear it unless and until you have to. We had officers who were actually sticking a hose from the air conditioner in the car up under their things to keep cool, and of course that's very dangerous for them. But by any means that they could keep comfortable. So one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we really added to the lexicon the whole concept of being comfortable in order to be safe, in order to wear the equipment that you need in order to protect officers and for them to get home safely.
Mhm. Well, adding that to the lexicon, as you say, it seems like that is uh, a unique or a value proposition
Mhm.
that Semforex has championed. Um, would you consider that to be your primary strength as a product and as a company? That whole notion of you can be comfortable and safe at the same time. What would you consider to be the strengths or the differentiators or the things that set Semforex apart from probably your competitors?
Well, one of the things is that we are unique in that we come from the community. We're a minority company in this industry that is not minority oriented. So one of the things is overcoming just the surprise or the raised eyebrows that we're in this industry, and that's one of the things we're proud to be able to have been in it for this time, because most, we were being written off, or well, they're not going to be that long. We'll just wait and take that innovation. So, in terms of the strength of it, is endurance. First of all, is one thing on it. The other thing with respect to our product is that the whole militaristic look. Ours it's a concealable. It's not something that, I mean, you could wear it and have it. Although we only do it for law enforcement, and there would be it's not discernible in that way, and yet it's much stronger, much more protective, and much more effective. So that's one of the things in it. And even though there is a need for tactical equipment, and we certainly offer that, we specialize in something that's really more for community policing, for being able to be protected, but be also able to have officers and approachable without all that, the military piece of it. I think that's what we absolutely have a strength in.
Okay, very, very good. So the comfort, the safety, and the fact that it is concealable, you don't have to look like you are ready for battle, but you really
Yes,
are.
yes,
Uh,
that's right.
yeah,
That's right.
that's I think that's a critical piece. And if you touched on something that I think will be very interesting to our conference participants, and that is you are a minority-owned company. You
Yeah.
are approaching a decade in the industry, in the sector. Um, and in this moment in time, of course, there's a lot of conversation about the relationship of law enforcement to the African American community. So you are, I guess, rare or unique in so many different ways. One, you are a manufacturer, and there are not that many minority companies in manufacturing. And also, you're in a sector or an industry that's law enforcement, military related, and that makes you even a little more different than what you probably most of the competitors. Can you say a little bit more about that experience and how it has been to be a trailblazer and
Yeah.
unique?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, because it is something that it, it requires mindful thinking, and to understand. I'm as offended and as, you know, blood boiled as anybody, as we are, about some of the really atrocities that have occurred through the to the community, and the between the community and the police. So I managed my emotions and then take a look at it. One of the things I always remembered with my students, we had a conversation at one time when I was teaching, about officers, and one of the things is that they are assigned to be, they have discretion and they have to be trustworthy. So in raising the question with the students as to whether or not they knew or had ever associated with any officers, what did they know them? Did they have them in their family and the whole deal? Everyone raised their hand. So then I asked them whether or not how many thought that they were trustworthy, the ones they knew, and that they were that they would trust them with the discretion of what to do with it, and they all raised their hand. And it made me it reinforced one of the things I had to go through, is to remember, is this the situation where we've got a serious tail wagging the dog? There's been infiltration. There have been things that officers or that police departments have not managed in culling out people that do not belong in law enforcement. And that's just a fact. And so the question is, if we protect the 90, we can debate 95% others or 98% or whatever you think. If we protect them and keep them in good stead, then it allows us a better opportunity to deal with the riffraff that needs to go. So, you don't want to throw, as I say, the proverbial baby out with the bathwater. So that's how we came to it, Dr. Williams, is to really understand, hey, we need and desire police officers. I have seen in my, as I open my eyes, officers put themselves in amazing harm's way, running toward the very thing we're running from. And I think that they deserve to be protective and to have the kind of equipment. Let's not make that an issue and let them be suffering because we haven't worked out what we're doing with the rest of with this problem that we have, that is a serious problem. That's okay.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective, that, safety and safety and comfort, those are priorities because they're doing a very important job.
Yeah.
And let's not get that lost and caught up into the conversation that is very worthy also about the relationship. Just to transition with the few minutes that we have left, how do you, in manufacturing, of course, we hear a lot about the skills, the talent, and the succession gap in manufacturing, and what's a path forward in terms of the whole sector in workforce development, and making sure that there's a pipeline for not only workers, but also those who are leaders, and for those who may become owners, such as yourself. How do you think an institution like Coppin State University could help with that need?
Boy, I think this is an incredible opportunity. In January of 2020, I was involved in a presentation to the Senate Finance Committee where we were advocating a study program for emerging digital technology. And that was in January of 2020, just before the pandemic hit. There were 5,000 job openings that came in 1 month in Maryland. I'm a member of the Maryland Manufacturers Advisory Board, and we talk about this all the time. There are incredible job opportunities that are well paid, but little or no preparation. One of the things I point out is that we're in a hub zone, in an opportunity zone, and all that means absolutely nothing if the people around in that neighborhood don't have the kind of skills and opportunity that are needed to help us with our work. And that is where we need to focus. In terms of Coppin State and any university, I think that what we have to do, in the past, we've always thought of, you either go to college or you go to a trade. But the reality is that we need to have, at a collegial state, you have to have other skills with respect to, we need practical skills from the collegial teachings, and we need in terms of managing in manufacturing. I'm focusing on manufacturing. And then you need the kind of collegial academic skills to add to the kind of trades that we're talking about. So I'll give you an example. In Emory University, they took 240 people. Many of them were women. They were unemployed and on state aid, and they taught them digital skills in collaboration with AT&T. So they went through and they learned this digital 5.0. And when they finished, they supplied their babysitting. They made sure that they had the food that they needed in order to get through this program. But then were looking at $65,000 a year jobs. The jobs are incredible in terms of what they pay. Here in Maryland, you can get up to $85,000 and more on a skilled job working in the manufacturing. It's much more attractive than what we're accustomed to thinking of manufacturing as being. So as Coppin State, I think encouraging the community to come into the university setting, helping them to learn skills in the academic part of it, to be able to write, to be able to, this has to be beyond what's taught in high schools. There's an intention there, and there's a way to be a business, to know how to be a leader, how to own it, all the skills that are required to run a business and to run your own career. So I think there's an incredible amount of an incredible opportunity. And I'll say that there's one that's looking at that I think is also an interesting opportunity. There's a study, the workforce of the future, where they've been looking at the shaping of technology. And China took 1/3 of the blue collar works. Everybody went out, they went outsourced. Well, that's coming back in.
Yes.
So there's going to be an incredible opportunity for people who have had to set aside and do with, not be a part of this. We need to bring them in. We need to bring them to the table. They want to work. We let society tell us, people just they don't want to do anything. All they want is welfare. That is not true. That's not been my experience at all. People want to work. They want to be purposeful. And they want to learn. And it's our responsibility and our obligation to help bring that in. And it'll be for our survival.
Yes.
We don't have that information, all the information that is required at Semforex to run it. We are looking for those skills, that understanding, that information. So I think there's a real opportunity for Coppin States and for universities to bring in this source that's been left out for too long.
Well, thank you so much. And our time has expired. You can always tell a good interview because at the end of it, you want more. So I thank you for that. And this has been Saundra Lamb, the president and COO of Semforex Corporation. We thank you for contributing to the conference and look forward to future engagements with Semforex. Thank you very much.